The Future of Work, Technology-Enabled Employee Experience. It is an enlightening panel discussion that delves into transformative power of technology in shaping the future of employee experiences. I would now request our moderator, Ms. Lavanya, Global Business Partner, HRBP Micron Technology, to please step forward. Ms. Lavanya is a dynamic, strategic HR professional with her extensive experience and comprehensive understanding of HRM. She has successfully implemented innovative HR strategies and driven impactful organizational transformations. Ma'am, I would request you to please take your seat. I would now like to, introduce the panel. First up, Navya Krishna Killari, Regional Vice President, Customer Success and Strategy, Apicero Inc. Navya Krishna Killari is the Regional Vice President at Apicero, an NTT data company with her impressive track record in products and services sales, direct sales, and customer success. She has consistently excelled in managing complex projects and fostering strong client relationships. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Next up, Amit J. Sharma, National Head, Re-Sustainability. Amit, a dedicated mechanical engineer with 25 plus years of diverse industry experience, brings extensive knowledge to the table, trained in TQM and Lean Six Sigma. He is passionate about quality, customer experience, and sustainability. As Head of Operational Excellence at Re-Sustainability Limited, Amit drives operational efficiency, customer excellence, and sustainable practices. Up next, we have Ram Jaladurgam, founder and CEO, Minds and Dots. Ram is driven by his passion for developing others as he transitioned from a successful sales and marketing career in the pharmaceutical industry to focus on talent development and leadership. With a PhD in industrial organizational psychology, he dives deep into dynamics of organizational behavior, empowering managers and leaders with powerful interventions to enhance employee performance. Having developed over 500 trainers, established a strategic training academy, and collaborated with business partners and professional bodies, Ram has, amassed an impressive track record of achievements. Hello, sir, and thank you for joining us. Up next, Mr. Naresh Virdima, Director, Delivery Operations, Zeta Global. Mr. Naresh comes with an expertise in marketing, automation, campaign management, and online marketing. He brings over 10 years of client-side experience as well. His strategic recommendations have delivered ROI-focused marketing solutions. Last but not the least, we have with us Ratnesh Vijay Varghya, RV Senior Vice President, Servify. Ratnesh is the Senior Vice President at Servify, and he is at the forefront of nurturing tech and product innovation. With his extensive experience and expertise, Ratnesh has successfully spearheaded transformative initiatives that have elevated customer experiences to new heights. And now I hand it over to our moderator, Lavanya. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with my panel of Work Technology-Enabled Employee Experience. Now, this is a very wonderful time to be part of a panel discussion like this, because employee experience has been constantly disrupted by technology, may it be in terms of any onboarding programs, performance management, employee engagement programs, whatever you take. The employee experience has been something that has been at forefront, and technology has been constantly innovating in this particular space. So it is indeed my pleasure to have these panel members here while we navigate through the conversation. And probably I'll start off the first question that I might have here for the group here is, given that we all know that the future of work is here, the future of technology for employees is here, with that as a basic understanding today, how do you think organizations can leverage some of the existing technology or some of the things that you anticipate in terms of the emerging technologies to create a more flexible and adaptable work environment, keeping employees in mind. With that as a question, I'll pose it first to you, Amit. What are your thoughts on that? I don't think so. Is Amit audible to you folks? Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so interesting question and an interesting subject as well. Since morning, we've seen many presentations and we are all talking about technology, and at the end of it, I think at the summary of all the discussions, at the end, all the discussions have summarized with one sentence that at the end, it's humans, right? So we have to be cognizant of the fact that we are serving humanity, we are serving human beings, and the employees in an organization also, have to be treated as customers because they are the users of the services, users of the same technologies that the customers are using. And therefore, the technological roadmap of any organization has to keep that in mind, especially keeping in view that many employees are, in a way, aware of the fact that they might be replaced by technology in the near future. Keeping that in mind, how do we keep the employees happy? How do we keep the employees engaged? How do we keep the employees productive? Right? Perhaps, moonlighting could become a new norm, maybe going forward, because, if the organizations cannot guarantee job security, then of course, we need to upskill and allow the employees to, find alternate avenues. One of the interesting technologies, I saw somebody from LTI Mindtree sitting there. I'm not sure if they're already they're there. Okay, all right. So I was amazed to see how LTI Mindtree is using the technology at L&T projects, especially the AR, the augmented reality, virtual reality, platforms, to give the safety-related training at the sites which are at very, very difficult situations, very, very difficult physical environments. Right, so augmented reality and the virtual reality, those are the things which are there, which are the reality, and certainly can be used to enhance the employee training in the situations which are very difficult to simulate or very expensive to simulate in real life. Right, so for example, if you have to climb up 200 feet and then work and perform a welding operation there, how do you do it? And how do you remain safe in that environment? Right. So those are the things that AR/VR certainly brings to the table, and a personalized learning management system. LMS, we all know that LMSs exist, right? But a personalized LMS system is something that can also help employees to upskill and and be more productive, learn new technologies, learn new skills, and therefore be more productive. Another important thing that we all have to keep in mind is that it's not making a workplace more entertaining. It's not about making working more rewarding. Employees want to be more and more successful, right? So process simplification is also an important aspect. That how do we use technology to capture the data wherever the employees are facing frustration because of bottlenecks in the process, and if the process simplification initiatives are taken and things are made more and more simpler and easier for the employees, that can be, a few ways where the technology can be leveraged to, enhance the employee experience. Yeah.
Sure, Amit. I think you've touched upon a lot of interesting topics where technology can definitely be used, moonlighting. We're getting into something that's like a gig economy where we have different people working for short terms and working across different projects and companies. But I would like to hear a little bit more, Arvi, from you in terms of how and where do we see this technology?
Hi, am I audible? Yeah, so I think very interestingly, when we say future of employee experience, right? What is the future? That is one question, right? And that primarily is now coming because of this remote work or the hybrid work or working at the office location, right? So it's very important to understand what works for an organization, right? So what works for a large organization, diversely located, a global firm, and again, what works for a startup, a very small team, could be different, right? So what we need to also understand what work for an organization as we see the future of our firms, right? Now, when we talk about the hybrid model, there are, long debates and big debates about whether a human aspect is missing when we work remotely, right? Or versus what we work in office. So that's important. But what is also important is if we are remote, how technology is driving it. So for example, in earlier days, it might not be that much possible because, of the infra that needs to be hard. Right now, when we talk about the cloud-based computing and all that, it's making it possible that we can work from anywhere, right? Even our mobiles are so much empowered that that even the coding can be done on a mobile these days, right? And literally, I've seen that there are students in villages. They do not have affordability to have laptops, right? They're just buying the keyboard, putting a smartphone, which is like 3,000, 4,000 bucks, and learning coding on them, right? That's how technology is empowering the, so-called the remote areas of the country. So that's my piece.
Thank you. Thank you, Arvi. You touched upon a topic, and I would like to elaborate a little bit more on that further, is in terms of just like how we can't assume what customers, what is the need of a customer we actually ask and then we deliver. I think we're getting into a space where we also need to know what employees want and start working towards that. And I think one of the classic examples that you said was about this hybrid model. A few years back, nobody would have thought we could have worked from home, but now today that is a hot topic about how many days should somebody come to office versus somebody should work from home. Continuing on that topic, I'll come to you, Navya. I would like to know, how are these organizations that exist today in the ecosystem fostering an environment, a culture which allows remote working, virtual workers, all of them to come together, collaborate, create still a feeling of oneness when they are so dispersed? I would like to hear your thoughts, Navya.
Thanks, Lavanya. So first of all, let's understand what is virtual collaboration and why is it important. I could probably start with one of the lamest examples. So long distance relationships usually doesn't work a lot. That's what we've been hearing. So why is it challenging, right? Communication is one big gap that we see, and then the time zone differences, the cultural differences, the priorities, and information being lost. So all these could be common issues that two people in long distance relationship face, and that's exactly the case. Now imagine thousands of people coming together in an organization and trying to work towards one common goal, one common mission, vision, and objective. So it's definitely going to be extremely challenging, but yet very important. So I think for a while now, since the coronavirus pandemic has hit, we are all getting used to working remotely, and we are pretty much working a lot towards virtual collaboration. However, even post-pandemic, what we are hearing is more than 50% of employees are still not willing to come back to office. So they wanted to still work remotely, or they're preferring a hybrid model. And that's why I think a lot of the Jane tech companies like Microsoft, Google, Twitter, everybody are extending the work from home culture and remote work culture to their employees to retain the best talent from the market. So on that note, how are we going to improve or enhance the virtual collaboration, right? Again, few tips to leaders. I think it all starts from the culture of the organization. I think starts right from the CEO to the leadership to the subordinates and the resources. Again, defining a very strong culture with respect, trust, relationship is very, very important, and keeping the employees and each of these resources well aligned to the company's vision, mission, and objectives and goals are very important to start with. And then clearly the leaders should define the individual's roles and responsibilities, and then streamline process to avoid any conflicts. And then they have to come up with communication channels for them to communicate important issues or unimportant issues. Again, email communication is great, but again, when there is a conflict, I don't prefer email communication as much because it just goes in circles. Rather, do a quick huddle or just pick up your phone, call them and sort it out. So that is that will probably help a lot. And then few methods again to enhance better virtual collaboration would be encouraging face-to-face meetings or video conferencing calls to kind of create that little interaction, and also you would understand the other person's body language and small gestures. Also, video conferencing calls helps in gaining attention from the audience better, and at least the audience wouldn't multitask, and they would be better listeners. That way you can improve communication. And also, I think the organizations should start encouraging performance project management tools. So I know teams from different geographies are working on a single project, and we have to bring all of them together. And these project management tools are very helpful to keep the teams aligned and define their roles and responsibilities and timelines for the success of the project. And the most important aspect I wanted to cover is about strengthening the relationships and the communication. So organizations are focusing a lot on the technologies and tools and solutions to enhance virtual collaboration, but somewhere I feel they forget to invest in interpersonal skills, development of their employees a lot of times, and also conversational skills. I think these two aspects are key focus for any organizations, because they have to upskill their employees on these aspects. Because even if they build 100 different tools and technologies, if the employees are not leveraging them or communicating through these tools, there is no point of having these tools. So I think one good news for all leaders is every organization should have a strong virtual collaboration tool, which is the communication tool or a strong interpersonal skill development tool through which the employees can communicate. So to enhance virtual collaboration, I want to conclude that it's a combination of technology solutions along with the interpersonal skill development. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Navya. I think the topic about work, I'll pick up a cue from there. You spoke about how culture of an organization determines this thing. And I believe for any existing employee, culture is something that they've been embedded into. But somebody who's come new, or somebody who's new to the role, onboarding, training, skill development, all those things play a very critical role in making them part of the organization, making them understand the culture of the organization and feeling pride, a sense of belonging to the organization. Given that the technology has entered into every space that is possible there, my question to you, Ram, would be how do we see technology being leveraged for some of these processes like onboarding, training, and so on?
Of course, technology plays a major role since morning, that everybody has confirmed it, and we are also affirming it also. ESAT, CSAT, both determines the success of the organization. When you work for CSAT and ignore ESAT, probably organizations collapse. And you focus on ESAT, and definitely CSAT is possible. And of course, technology from onboarding, training and all. More than the technology we speak, I always talk about, along with the skill set, the mindset of the people is also very important. You introduce a lot of technologies because all your competitors are buying many technologies. They are introducing online trainings, LMS, as you said, the personalized LMS, and how do you customized programs you develop and deliver and all. How many technologies in the organizations are unused but invested because of lack of mindset? So we need to work on the mindsets. These mindsets will happen only when you work on the culture of the organization. So culture plays a major role more than the technology. Sometimes the organization is traditionally accustomed to have your human interactions more than the technology interface. And people rely on that. Unless somebody approves, personally confirms, people will not make any decisions, but not through technology. Of course, technology is giving all the leverages, but I'll tell you how the technology plays a major role in our lives too. We are all speaking about the human touch, human emotions. In fact, I don't believe in it. I tell you how. How many of you are expecting when you order for Amazon, the parcel will come? Are you expecting any person to give a delivery or the service? If not, okay, you don't like the product. When you are returning it also, you are not expecting somebody to receive with a great respect and it. And you can also send anytime after 10 days of use of any product, you can send them out. So not only that, any service that you are getting, you will not expect any human interface, human to come. You want service, only service. We are getting a lot of services through mobile phone. How many people are paying their electricity bills and all regular bills? They're going to the offices and to the person and all mobiles only. People expect the service as service through technology, but they also require the human touch at the end when they require. For example, all our discussions are happening. Everybody is talking about the technology, but at the end, after the panel discussion, everybody requires the applaud of the audience. That's again human emotions. So that's at the end, but service people introducing and using a lot of technologies, leveraging it. There is an online onboarding is there. There is as our friend said, mobile phone itself will facilitate to onboard, and you can conduct a 360-degree performance appraisals, and the immediate feedback. Present generation is not expecting to meet manager every time. He's not waiting outside the manager cabin to wait for his decisions and all. Technology is taking care. So in a employee's life cycle, 80% of the technology will help him go smoothly in his functions. So what I again highlight is that mindset is very much required, and the culture, the attitudes of the employees, you will have to work on that. Then only people leverage the technology, and you can always claim that technology is helping organizations grow.
Sure, thank you, Ram. You brought about the topic of mindset, and to create a mindset of forward-looking growth mindset, I also believe that along with the technology, there's also an exhaustion coming in with the usage of technology at every space. That also brings in a buzzword or something that I feel is genuinely needed, though I say it's a buzzword, is the employee well-being. That has come into the forefront now. It could be because either we are working in remote, this thing, the human aspect which you said we need in a balance is probably missing at places, or we feel that we need more of they're isolated. Whatever might be the need, there's a need for more of employee well-being, and there's a focus on that. Again, there's a lot of technology put into that to enable the well-being. And some organizations have really mastered in creating wonderful set of policies, flexibility, customization, and personalization of all the benefits that could help for an employee well-being. With so many things happening in this particular space, Amit, I would like to know your thoughts in terms of where exactly do you think, or what are some of the strategies that organizations can deploy to effectively have an impact when we talk about employee well-being?
Well, we are 1.4 billion people in this country, and approximately 8 billion across the globe, and we still need bots to chat with, right? So that's ironical and interesting situation that we are in, because we want humans to focus on more and more efficient, effective, and productive work. Even the conversations have to be productive, right? So non-productive conversation, let the bot handle. Having said that, now when it comes to employee well-being, right, one important thing is that, of course, the human element is not to be taken away, right? So I was having a discussion in a group and as part of a think tank on, and the discussion was that, everybody was passionate about having apps, having bots, and having, the technologies, the technological applications, etc. The question that was asked was that why do you need it? Why do you need an app, for example, right? That is, somebody needed an HRMS app, right? A mobile-based HRMS, right? The answer most of the people gave was that because everyone has it, right? So it's a FOMO, it's fear of missing out rather than the real need, right? We as humans, we have a fundamental need of socializing, and that need is not going to go away, right? We want to socialize, we want to interact with the people. That's the very reason why we are having this event in person, right? Why are we not virtually sitting at our homes or at our offices and attending this? So we as humans definitely need socializing. Another thing is that when the technological development happens, how many human psychology experts, certified human psychology experts and professionals in human psychology are actually involved in developing that, right? So people who are developing the bots, techies, right? And they assume certain things and then develop the bots, and that's why Raja said in the beginning, in the starting presentation of the day, Raja gave an interesting statistic that a standalone bot, once implemented, the NPS or the customer satisfaction went down by 28%, right? So because it has to be seamless. Now, however, there are certain areas where technology can certainly be leveraged, right? For example, now we've got wearable devices, right, which capture our activities. It is very easy for HR of an organization to get a dashboard on the lifestyle of the employees, whether they're pursuing a good lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle or not. When is their health checkup due? Are there any abnormal parameters which are being shown, right? And getting everything through a wearable device is not difficult at all. And in addition to that, certain emotional aspects can also be captured through, artificial intelligence, whether, when an employee enters, how many employees are happy when they enter? How many of them have a happy face, right? That can be very easily captured using a simple camera these days, right? And a good software behind it. So these are certain ways in which, technology can be leveraged. But yes, the underlying statement that I would like to make is that the human touch is not to be taken out.
Got it. Thank you, Amit. I'll ask this question to you, virtual collaboration and the need of that. Do you see employee well-being impacted or having any kind of strategies that the organization could look at differently when it comes to employee well-being and how technology can help there?
Again, I see a lot of us are very fascinated to work with these giant tech companies like Microsoft, Google. So why do you think we are so fascinated? I don't think it is just about the compensation aspect of it, right? It is a brand, and what does a brand mean? It means that, they get to experience the best, right, in the class. So right from the employee experience, right from their work location, they are kind of heard. They feel they have the freedom to experiment. Every one of them are treated like entrepreneurs. So I was just listening to a video of Satya Nadella. He was actually talking about his interview with Microsoft for the position of CEO, and one of the questions that he was asked by the HR in the last round of his interview was, what would you do if a guy who's crossing a road, he meets with a small accident and he falls down, what would you do? He probably started thinking logically and he said, I would call 911. 911 is either an ambulance or a cop, right, in US. So then I think they were trying to understand the empathy of a person through that interview. So the interviewer said, I would go help that boy and give him a hug. So empathy is one very important aspect that all these bigger organizations are looking at in a CEO, because however technology enabled we are, end of the day, I think empathy plays a major role in organizations. And since, again, another example, though we are all technology enabled, if one of our friends meets with an accident or or friends or family meets with an accident and they're in an emergency situation, our preference would be go and be available to them in person over, doing just a call or text to them, right? So that in-person connection is very important, and that empathy is very important, and that's what organizations are promoting very much through their culture, and that culture should flow through the CEO to the leadership, to the employees, and to all the subordinates. So they feel heard, they feel valued, they feel respected. And I think that will take a long way. And just like Ram mentioned, ESAT is directly proportional to CSAT. If the employee is happy, motivated, the productivity of the employee is going to be much, much higher. And obviously the organization is going to be more successful. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you, Navya. You brought in a point of empathy, and empathy is generally mostly needed by managers at the time of appraisal, performance appraisal. There's a lot of training that goes in to explain how empathetic and different models of giving feedback to an employee at the time of performance appraisal. Given that we have invested so much into technology and we have now HRMS that drives performance management in a consistent manner across geographies, across organizations, how and what are some of the changes and what are the things that you see, Ram, this question is for you, in terms of technology coming into this particular space there?
Technology coming into empathy
Performance
space?
management and
Performance
employee
management.
development, employee engagement, listening, and all those things.
Yeah. See, earlier employee 360-degree performance management used to be at the end of the year, which is a postmortem. So you cannot do anything. And now the technology is giving a continuous feedback so that I can correct myself. The present generation is not expecting the feedback at the end of the year where you are saying that why your increment is low. I am not here to listen to this news till the end of the year. So the technology is enabling people understand and get the feedback of their performance, their function, and correct them immediately. The second thing is that a lot of learnings are happening, AR, VR technology. For example, you take pharma industry, there are a lot of hazardous chemicals are there. You will have to mix the chemicals at the plant in the production area. You cannot experiment directly, but at the safe environment, AR, VR technology enables you to experiment that, and you will learn that skill there. And the most regulated industry in the world, in the entire world, most regulated industry is that aviation industry. The pilots can learn through the technology, AR, VR, different flights they can fly without even experimenting with a low cost. So people can learn, people experiment, and people innovate many things there. So these technologies are helping definitely, particularly the performance appraisals, employee engagement, 360-degree feedback. In onboarding also, employee, before even he joins the company, he can go the virtual office tour. For example, I am joining in Australia and I am selected in Hyderabad. I wanted to know how the office environment is there. You can give him a feel and experience. How do you walk through? So these kind of technologies are definitely helping the employee to get this feel of the organization before he decides to join the organization or to continue with that.
Sure, fantastic perspective there, Ram. Naresh, would you like to add on to that part of it in terms of the employee development, performance management, and so on in terms of HR space, technology? What is your view on that part of it?
Yeah, sure, Lavanya. Are you able to hear us? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. And adding to the Ram's point, so each company should have some virtues, and employees should embed it through those virtues. So we have a virtues called grow, commit, innovate, collaborate, diversity, humanize, and productivity. So each employee should have gone through these virtues, and they should see how they have been living in the company on each and every day on their day-to-day activities and employee well-being, or how they have been supporting the team members as well. Because we have been recording these feedbacks and we have been sharing this feedback on a monthly basis or quarterly basis or annual basis, but we should see like not on the how many tasks that they did, but it's mostly on the virtues that they have been going through, what are the things that they have learned and what are the innovations that they did, and how they have been growing from one role to another role, and what are the things that they did for the culture, building culture within the company. So we need to see all these virtues so that we can see a great success for employee first, then the customers. Thank you, Lavanya.
Thank you, Naresh. With so much of data being collected, monitored, reviewed, so much available and accessible today in the present world, may it be with the customers, with the employees, with the HRs, whoever is the owner, it is probably fair to say that in today's world, the two major fears about technology is that one, the technology will replace people in the job, and the second one being the fear of data security itself. So my question to you, Arvi, would be that given that we have access to so much of data, what are some of the measures in the current setup of a technology-enabled environment are we taking towards data security, privacy, etc.? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think almost all of us, if not all, most of us are running the firm or part of the firm who are working for customers, right, for our clients. And it is very, very important. And those are, as we say, right, customer experience. It's very important to take data very seriously, right? Now, during the epidemic, right, when there were people working remotely, many such examples being floated, right? A guy is working for 3 companies at one time, right? How would you protect that? I mean, and those because most of the jobs are technology enabled and also back-end jobs where the physical presence is not so crucial, like say somebody is working as a back-end developer, right, programmer. He can work in the morning for a company and in the night for a US company, right? And those kind of examples are so true. But, and even by technology, you can't stop all of it, right? There are certain things that can only be driven by moral things, but not in your control. But what is in your control is how you protect your data to be going out, right? So for example, your device, are they protected? Now, we have solutions, right, when we have cloud computing at place, when we have BYOD concept, right? It is important because, see, there is very thin layer between monitoring and also moral policing, right? Because if I'm taking away your freedom, you may not like it. Employees may not like it. So if I'm saying your mobile device is empowered to perform many operations that you could have otherwise performed in the office, it is also important to understand that it's your personal device as well, right? It also contains your private data, right? So MDM solutions that we have today in play are very important. So companies should be focusing on that a lot, and while ensuring that there is an element of personal data versus what is the organization's data or the client's data. Lot of employees, they have access to production environments, right, when we talk about technology. And in production, the entire data is, most of the time is the client data. And your people like you and me, right, our data is residing somewhere. And with this digital age, right, it's very important, right? Say if you talk about data floating anywhere, your Aadhaar number, your phone number, your name, it's like everywhere, right? It's not so so difficult to gather that data and put some models around it. And now when we talk about models like ChatGPT and all, it can really create disaster, right? So it's very important that data must be respected with all the freedom that we get with technology. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Arvi, on that perspective there. Yes, it's fair is something that's very critical. Naresh, would you like to add on any perspective that you might have with regard to the data security that we are running into with this technology-enabled environment?
Yeah, sure, Lavanya. And adding to Arvi's point, so as a leaders, we need to have a guiding principles for each and every employee, like confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. So how we can share the data, and what are the measures that we have to take, because there are so many threats are happening around the world. So we need to be very careful about what are the guiding principles that we have. And also we need to have a policies like what is a physical desk policy, what is a computer policy, and what is the email policy, so that people can take care while handling any tasks or while having any discussions with the counterparts. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So what I hear from you, Naresh, is that it's good to have, but then there's some policies around it that we
Guiding
need to
principles.
create, and then, yeah, so that's a fine balance that Arvi was talking about. How much do we control versus how much do we give, and how much do we do that? So I wish we could continue on this topic for long, but in the interest of time, probably we'll have to just probably wrap up, probably with one concluding statement from each one of you. In this environment where we know technology is something that we can't avoid, and then in that kind of a thing, what do you think we can do to have continuous human connections and collaboration? I'll start with you, Navya, and then we can just go around, please.
Again, organizations should still encourage social events, team building activities, culture building activities, and in-person meetings. I think that would definitely help. And in addition, like I mentioned some time back, a combination of technological tools with conversational skills would probably take a long way.
Thank you. Amit?
Yeah, am I audible? Right. So I think one important thing is in the morning it was said that in God we trust, everyone else brings data. Right. So that was said by Dr. Edward Deming in 1980s. Right. And that is something that sounds so fresh even now. So that means that yes, we need to certainly live that particular statement. And another thing that I would like to emphasize is the very basic concepts of total quality management, which somewhere people have, people are not following too much these days, except for the manufacturing industry and the automotive in particular. But those are simple concepts that help us enhance the customer experience, enhance the employee experience, relevant to our business, and make our business more and more future-proof very well. Right, very much. So it's very important. I'll request the entire audience to please study a little bit about the basics of TQM, total quality management, right? Study a little bit more about the basic quality concepts, in particular the Kano model, which talks about how do we continuously improve and enhance the customer experience, and apply the same principles to employees, because employees are customers. They are also users of certain services in the organization. And so the knowledge, the experience, everything is all readily available. And then on the top of it, leverage technology, the tools, techniques, everything is readily available. I mean, just utilize those on these, but get the principles right first.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amit.
See, generally employee satisfaction doesn't depend on the huge technologies and the big introductions and all. So it's small experiences. The other day I went to an office, one employee itself, an office employee, was just pushed the door before me on a glass door broken. Everybody were just checking why it happened. In fact, it is written as a pull, he pushed it. I mean, then people asked, and he is giving the reason. When you have written their pull, why you kept that rod to hold there? So whenever you see the rod, what you feel is that you like pulling only. So you will not push with the rod. So when it's a push written and there is a rod there, it's a simple experiences. Sometimes technology also, when you give app to the employee, when it is downloading, that satisfaction is enough. Dissatisfied employee. And you give a phone number, employee service, you give a ring, nobody is picking up. That's all. That's a simple thing. So simple experiences need to be taken care to take care of employee satisfaction. Thank you.
Thank you. Small little things that matter. Yes, Naresh, to you, please.
Yeah, so we need to have employee experience teams to conduct any physical activities. Nowadays, people are in remote, so if they come to office and to be part of more of the events or activities, then we have a better collaboration, and they can make their life balance very easily. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Arvind?
Hi. So I'd like to end with a, because we have been having these debates, right, or whether with the growth of technology, the bots, right, the human element would be completely depleted, right, in terms of jobs, right? Now, it's a scary thing, right? Because we know in a country like us where, you know, there are jobs challenges, and even when the chatbot things are coming up, it's going to take away the jobs a little more, right? So I don't know about the name of the town. I want to tell this inspiring story where there's a town in Europe where there was a manufacturing plant, right? And almost all the families of that town, they used to be employed with that manufacturing plant, right? Now, and this is the real story. I mean, you guys can Google it. I don't remember the town and the name of the plant now. But what they did is they replaced most of the employees, almost 80% of the workforce, by the robots, right? Because in the manufacturing, it came first, right? Not really the computer. Now, what they ultimately end up doing is they adopted that town, that manufacturing plant, they adopted the town also. So people who lost their job, they are taking care of their fulfillment of their needs, basic needs, etc. So social inclusion is very important as we go towards the technology growth. So that's what I want
Thank you,
to end.
Arvi. That was a very fantastic short story, social inclusion. With that, probably we can conclude this, and I would say that it's my honor that I had a chance to be a moderator for this panel. Thank you.